Okay, so this is my second video focusing on using the KOMA Elektronik Field Kit along with the Kilpatrick Audio Phenol synthesizer. If you know about the Phenol, it's a pretty amazing unit that you can do just about anything with. And for me, it's about creating crazy drones and just being able to manipulate so many possibilities on the instrument with the patch points. I won't go into the patch that I created for this, but it's a pretty basic one. And again, you can watch the video. When I watch YouTube videos about the Phenol or say the Ocos or something like this, often it's a nice way to get some ideas for patches, just as a little tip there. So that will be the Phenol. And what I'm essentially going to be doing in this video is one thing, I'm using the sensor. So in these last couple videos, I've been focusing pretty exclusively on using the sensor of the field kit as a way to interact with your environment. In this case, I'm using the light sensor, and to me, this has been pretty incredible. I have to say, this last one we're seeing now, I just started to think of this has so much possibility. Essentially, a $4 light sensor you can get on Amazon. And you should check out some of my future videos because I'll be going through the whole approach of using sensors and also switches, how to create them, how to use them, possibilities of ordering sensors online and figuring things out. Again, it uses the Arduino system, which is very user-friendly, I would say, very reasonable, and it's so widespread that it's easy to get things. For example, you can get the cables that I've recommended that you get if you want to start using sensors. Now again, you don't have to use these with the field kit. There are so many possibilities, but for me, this is going to take music, at least my music, and approaches to sound in some really new and interesting directions. I was amazed, and again, all these are experiments, first time through, never did some of the things, and just wanted to see what could I do with the field kit. And by the way, if you haven't noticed this earlier, I'm holding it up now, but you can really see the size format of the field kit. And it's just pretty amazing in terms of its portability. And I think some people have been asking for like 9-volt input that would be battery powered or something like that, because you are forced at least now to hook up to a power charger. But it is so small and easy to work with. And by the way, the switches and sliders and stuff are not, I don't find that hard to work with. I know with Volcas and stuff, you get into this issue of, the size factor with a Volca. And actually, I just have the Volca keys, but for people that have Volcas, you could really do some amazing things turning this with the 4-channel mixer, giving you some new possibilities. You can add another small mixer, and like the one that Bastel Electronics makes, that little mini one, you could hook a bunch of Volcas into here and have as many channels probably as you wanted. So just an idea, but this, I wanted to mention it because it is so small and easy to work with. So in this video, I'm going to be using just the light sensor, and I will control it in, let me think, 4 different ways, essentially. So the first way is moving it up and down. So I'm going to get light. If you can see this on the screen here, I can't monitor the video, so hopefully we're okay. But I can move the light sensor. Essentially, the sensor is here on the top. So I have a light when I'm recording this above the kitchen table, essentially. So obviously, if it's turned down like this, I'm going to get different light effect versus if it's turned up. So as I'm moving it upwards towards the camera, you'll see that you're going to get different effects. And by the way, what I'm doing here is routing using the signal output, routing that directly with my handy not voltage converter, but grounder, which you have to use with the Phenol. I'm using that, and then essentially running. I have a double split here of 2 of the banana cables. I love that you can stack these just like the stackable CV ones. Those are both going into the pitch in for both oscillators on the Phenol. So essentially what we're doing is just controlling pitch. And in this video, when you watch it, I don't essentially ever lay a hand, I think maybe once, to do the fine tuning, but I don't do anything with the coarse tuning of the 2 oscillators. That's only being done with this sensor. And this is what I'm trying to stress in this video, is that essentially this turns your music into an entirely new approach. Getting into a feedback system, using light to change however many parameters you want on whatever device you want using control voltage out, using the signal out. So anyway, I was talking about the first approach to light. I'm moving it up and down. I'm also using it on the Phenol itself. So anytime you'll see for various functions the blinking lights, the LEDs, and they're all moving at different rates, so you get some really cool effects. And you'll note I'm going to get it really close and move it away and move it laterally and up and down and so forth. So it's a pretty cool effect, I think, when I was listening to this as I recorded it. So that's the second way. The third way is using this here. It's a light on one of these mini, I think it's a coin light microscope kind of thing, and essentially I'm just using it, both the white light and the blue light, and they do have different effects on the sensor, and I'm experimenting with position. And so, you know, obviously you can do things like this where you start to think about the distance, and then you can also do things rhythmically. And that'd be the other thing, is you could start doing some very interesting feedback experiments or music or sound palettes that would develop using different types of control systems. You could think about tilt switches that you could have on your arms and stuff like this, and you could move them. You could have one on one arm, one on another, and you could do things with your body movements and control different parameters on your synthesizer. So again, it's like the possibilities are so numerous, it's pretty mind-blowing. So that's the other way I control the light sensor. And then finally, this one was actually the coolest. You'll see on the video, I have the as I've done in the last few, I have the ETC video synthesizer. So I'm doing some different things with patterns and basically toggling one of the parameters that controls, say, the width, or, you know, you'll see different effects. But basically what starts to happen is I use this to then interact with the light signal coming off the various patterns on the monitor from the ETC. And towards the end, to me, it's like it gets into this crazy feedback system where, as these are starting to pixelate into new forms, again, all this is controlling the pitches of the two oscillators. You get some really crazy sounds. And again, moving this in the air, interacting with the light, you just see all the possibilities of this little field kit in terms of, I mean, if you just use it for this function, you know, it's kind of crazy. If you just said, I want to use sensors, and you never touched anything else, you never used the DC, the solenoids, the mechanical kind of stuff, you could essentially still benefit from this one little function, because essentially this takes any synthesizer or musical device and turns it into a new feedback system. And it's absolutely, I think, amazing what you can do. So let me stop talking and show you then this video where we test the light sensor controlling the two pitch points of the oscillators of the Kilpatrick Audio Phenol.